Hey guys, Bonny of G&Day Reviews here with another Servant Spotlight, this time for the badass pirates Anne Bonny and Mary Reed. And even though they do operate as a pair, I will be referring to them as Mary from now on, since Mary is the main attacker and sprite being used in their rider form. As always, I'll be examining her stats and skills, as well as going over pointers on how to utilize her effectively, and an overall guide comparing her to how she stacks up to the other 4-star servants. Also, check out Media Lily's Servant Spotlight. It's also up on the channel right now. She is the other 4-star servant being released with Okeanos, so check out that spotlight right after this one. The link is in the description box below. But without further ado, let's take a look at Mary's stats. Mary's stats are very middle of the road. She has a max HP of 11,286 and a max attack of 9,029, placing her smack in the middle of the other 4-star riders in both respects. Though among all 4 stars, her HP and attack are both in the lower half of the group. As for her skills, her first skill is Voyage rank A, which increases critical star drop rate for 3 turns between 30 to 50% depending on level. Her second skill is Marksmanship rank B, which increases critical strength for 1 turn between 50 to 100%. And finally, she has Combination rank C, which increases attack for 1 turn between 20 to 30% and increases crit star gather rate for 1 turn between 300 to 600% depending on level. Looking at her passive, she has Magic Resistance D, which increases debuff resist by 12.5%. And moving on to her deck and Noble Phantasm, she has what I call a light quick deck. It's quick arts buster with a quick Noble Phantasm. Her Noble Phantasm is Caribbean Freebird, which deals significant damage to a single target between 1200% and 2000%. It deals bonus damage when your HP is low, and that bonus modifier is also between 1200% and 2000% depending on overcharge and of course how low your HP is. And that Noble Phantasm is upgradable via an interlude, which will increase the base Noble Phantasm modifier from between 1200 to 2000 to between 1600 and 2400. And as you can tell from her skills, Mary is highly specialized as a crit rider. Her entire skill set is focused on making sure she can create crit stars, absorb them, and proceed to crit very, very hard. And to that extent, she's a fantastic servant. While we do have a few servants that can buff their own crit damage or the crit damage of all allies, and a few that can create crit stars, Mary's the first servant that can do it all on her own. On top of being self-sufficient in her niche due in large part to her skills, her class also plays a vital role in her appeal. As I briefly touched on in an earlier video and will expand upon in a later video, crit star absorption differs greatly between classes, with Berserkers having the lowest chance of getting crit stars and Riders having the highest absorption rate. Meaning, no matter what team she's placed in, Mary has a very high likelihood of absorbing all the crit stars, so you don't have to worry about starving her if you're pairing her with an archer or an assassin. And on that note, even when paired with other riders who have equal or greater crit star absorption than her, she can rely on her combination skill to give her the edge, since it greatly increases her star absorption rate as well as her attack. This synergizes perfectly with Marksmanship because you can then increase your crit damage to astronomical levels, maxing at 100% bonus crit damage. Her first skill, Voyage, also does a good job of complementing her kit. It sets her up by allowing her to produce a lot of crit stars with her quick and arch cards. While Voyage is great at allowing her to set up for massive damage, it shouldn't be prioritized over her other skills. Max Marksmanship first, since that has the largest increase per level, followed by Combination, and then Voyage. You can also level Marksmanship and Combination side by side, since they pretty much work in tandem. And while her skills are great and more than make up for her lackluster attack, her main appeal comes from her Noble Phantasm. Caribbean Freebird, on top of sounding like a really good drink, is one of the best Noble Phantasms in the game when it comes to single target damage. Being a quick Noble Phantasm means it can allow Mary to quick Brave Chain, thus producing more stars, but more importantly, it scales with HP. To be more specific, it scales in power depending on how low your HP is. So the lower your HP, the harder this hits. It's arguably the strongest Noble Phantasm among all the riders, even in JP, provided you can set it up properly since it's naturally a high risk, high reward gamble. This Noble Phantasm makes Mary one of the strongest boss killers in the game, and in combination with her skills, she can nuke an enemy for hundreds of thousands of HP in a single turn all by herself. However, this is also a point of weakness for her. Mary is an all-in, high-risk, high-reward, high-burst damage servant. Notice the buffs from marksmanship and combination only last a single turn, and that because her Noble Phantasm works best when she's at lower HP, it's very hard to spam it since you'll likely use it a few hits away from death. All this means Mary is built to set up and then dump all her damage onto a single enemy in a single turn. If she doesn't kill whatever it is she's attacking, she'll likely die before she can get another charge of her Noble Phantasm or her skills. And if you're too greedy in getting your HP low, you might just get crit and die. Playing Mary effectively very much requires a good bit of luck to maximize her damage, and she absolutely cannot survive any long fights. Once she gets her burst damage out, she's gonna die or not offer much else while her skills are on cooldown. Also, while she does have decent star generation due to Voyage, she isn't Atlanta or Hassan or Gil. She will struggle on occasion to produce enough stars if you have bad hands and no other star generators. And that's how we get into team comp. Naturally, because Mary relies on crit damage, pairing her with crit star generators is ideal. Atlanta is ideal since she can not only provide crit stars, but also has a strong quick buff to further fuel Mary's Noble Phantasm. Gil and Cursed Arm Hassan are also strong crit generators to pair her with, as are Hans and Waver and post-strengthening quest Caesar. Those are all strong partners with her since all three can increase Mary's crit damage even further, as well as her attack strength. Although do watch out for the heal on Hans' Noble Phantasm if you're pairing him with Mary, since healing Mary actively makes her weaker by taking away potential Noble Phantasm damage. So it's a bit counterintuitive, but make sure you do not heal Mary. As for craft essences, Calico Jack is their Bond craft essence, and it boosts crit damage of all allies by 25%. It's one of the better craft essences and absolutely worth putting on her since it acts as a team-wide gem mage craft, and we already went over how important crit damage is to Mary. Speaking of which, any crit damage boosting craft essence is strong on Mary, so go with Gem Mage Craft or Moonlight Festival. Be Elegant is another strong choice if you lack a good crit star generator on your team and you have to rely on Mary pulling her own weight. I would absolutely avoid anything that increases star absorption like Ceiling Enforcer because Mary already has crazy high crit star absorption rate along with a star absorption skill, so there isn't a need for any more star absorption. But by far the best craft essence on Mary is Black Grail. It was made for her. Not only does it drastically increase Noble Phantasm damage on an already strong single target Noble Phantasm, it also lowers Mary's HP every turn, further increasing her Noble Phantasm damage modifier. So in a way, Black Grail works twice as good on Mary as it does on anyone else. Overall, Mary will be the best rider at her release in Okeanos, even better than Drake in certain areas, because of how strongly she utilizes the crit mechanic that riders excel at, and because of how strong her Noble Phantasm and damage output are. She does fall off later on in the game because by her very nature, she lacks any sustain for long fights, and once enemies are too strong to be killed in one Noble Phantasm, her use will be limited. Still strong, but limited. But that won't be for a very long time. She has more than enough mileage to weather the majority of this game's content on her own, and is a rare, self-sufficient servant, and arguably one of the best non-berserker nukes in the game. If you need a strong rider, you'll be set for life with her, and she gets an A+ rating from me. If she could produce a little bit more crit stars on her own, and multiple HP bars weren't a thing later on, she would absolutely be an S rank, but even given that, she's still better than most of the 5-star riders. Those are my thoughts on Mary, probably one of the most underestimated servants in the game in my opinion, but what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Also, if you haven't already, please check out Media Lily's Servant Spotlight, also released today and linked in the description box. Drake's Spotlight will be going up on Thursday, so look forward to that. And don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and consider subscribing for more Fate Grand Order content if you really enjoyed the video. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next spotlight. Later.